Welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing battle belts and basically what to have on them, maybe what not to have on them, what I have on mine, and maybe what you might want to have on yours. Anyway, let's start with this with going maybe from left to right and discussing what I have on here. Now, the belt itself isn't one of those high class fancy belts. I believe this is just some cheap Condor $20-$30 belt. So far, it's actually served me pretty well. I know a lot of people talk a lot of crap on airsoft equipment. I can tell you after serving in the military, this airsoft equipment is a lot better than what we were issued. But anyway, it is stiff, it works. Over here, I have on some extra mags. I got a 6 mag holder. These are all holding some AR style magazines, so these will work pretty well. You can even put in some AK in these. I'm not entirely sure what this mag holder is, the brand. I think it might be Condor. This actually might be a little bit too big to fit. Now we can get it in there. Might be a bit stiff drawing it, so it might not be ideal for any kind of speed shooting scenarios, but anyway, you get the picture. Can't remember the exact branding on this. It could be Condor, it could be some other things. I got a lot of my mag stuff kind of mixed up. But anyway, most of it all works, it all functions the same way. The only thing I would actually say about these soft mags holders is it's usually a little bit more difficult to draw them out quickly while you're kind of running and gunning versus more the harder plastic ones. They still work, they're just not ideal for any kind of really running drills. Now I could take this off and I could put on some of my other ones. This is my one for my 308. I also have some mag pouches here. As you can see, my 308 mags are pretty stiff in there. We can also throw on some of my Glock ones on here that I'd sometimes have on. I use these to run my Glock 17. So really, just whatever I feel like maybe running, I'll switch this out and put one of these other on there. Now those are just two other examples. I have a few other things that I sometimes switch out here, but I like to keep this up over here just to make it easier to get on and off. And moving to the right, we have a little mag pouch. You might be wondering why anybody really needs a mag pouch dump. Taking these out, and if you're doing drills, you're trying to put them back in here really quickly, you're not going to have the time to do that. You're going to need two hands usually to get them fitted in there, or sometimes it's just going to get in there like that and you're not going to get it in. So it's nice to have a nice mag pouch. Take it, throw it in there, forget about it. This one could probably hold, I'm guessing, probably 8 or 9 of these AR mags before maybe it gets a little bit too much. You can also use it for other things. Maybe you're just out on a hike and you're looking for rocks. Take rocks, put them in there, find a cool geo, who knows. That's what I like to keep on, and I like to keep this in the rear so it's not bumping on my hip. You know, might be bumping me on my butt, but that's fine. Moving over further to the right, we have my K-bar here. Now let's discuss the importance of having a good knife on your battle belt or your range belt. You definitely don't want to go and buy some cheap ripoff. This is an actual K-bar. I bought this straight from their website, straight from the factory. There's a lot of actually Chinese ripoffs of K-bars out there. Stay away from those because there still definitely isn't the same kind of quality. Anyway, invest in any really good knife. You don't have to go with K-bars. They're a bit old school. I kind of like them just for the way they look and they're tough. Marine Corps still uses them. So that must mean that, well, they're marine proof, so anything that's marine proof is probably somewhat decent. Moving farther over, we have this Flex Defense magazine, or holster, not magazine, holster. We have a few other holsters that I've tried out and used in the past, kind of some budget ones, other sort of like the ones I used sort of in the military. I was in the Navy, by the way, not the Marine Corps. I don't want you to get confused if as a sailor. But this is sort of very similar to what we used in the Navy. We'd have 2-button release to get your gun out and draw it. Practice with that sometimes. So okay, if you're out really doing maybe some stuff like hiking or something, I believe a magazine like this might actually serve you pretty well because your gun's not just going to fall out. This is also a hip holster, so it's not going to be riding on your leg. I don't much care for the leg holsters because they start riding up on your groin or they start sagging so far down that they just start banging against your leg. So these hip holsters are a little bit nicer. Which is sort of what we have on here. And I got this for my Flex Defense on my Glock 17. Stand by for a future video on that. We have a more of a universal holster here. This is okay if you don't really have a specific holster for that gun that you have. Maybe you just bought it and you want to take it out on a trail, or you want to go and maybe do some drawing and do some drills with it at the range. I get that. This might be suitable just to keep around. Not the greatest holster. It's a bit slow. It kind of slow to draw because all that texture, all that material in there really just tries to squeeze onto that. And if you loosen it too much, it can end up falling out of the holster. So it's okay for temporary use, but you should really get you a holster that actually suits and fits your pistol. Now the only other thing that I have on here is really just some cheap suspenders. I got back problems, so that kind of helps reduce the load by putting it more on my shoulders and not so much on my hip or my lower back, which is where most of my problems are. Suspenders kind of are flimsy and kind of get in the way sometimes, but if you're going on long walks or hikes, it's useful. If you're just going to the range, maybe not so useful unless you have back problems like me. They do work. Not too expensive. One thing I really don't like about these suspenders, which I wish I would have known before I bought them, is that these little clamps that hold them are plastic, and not like a good polymer plastic, but more like a cheap toy, like McDonald's toy plastic almost. Really just wondering when those are going to break, and when they do, I'll probably go back and buy a better pair. But definitely for the fasteners that hold your suspenders to your belt, try and get something metal or at least a good polymer. These are, again, these are like cheap McDonald's plastic almost. So far they've held together fine, but I imagine they will break soon enough. Probably while I needed them the most when I'm at the range actually doing stuff. Anyway, that is my battle belt for you. And thank you for visiting my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.